Hi, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Winning Mondays with KW Malaysia. My name is Mariah, and I'm so glad you're all here today. I'm the training coordinator, and today we have a great sessions lined up for you. So I want to give a big hello to everyone on Facebook and everyone in Puchong and everyone on Zoom, of course. So we're excited to have you here. Hoping for a lot of engagement today because we have a very special speaker talking about some important stuff. Yeah, I don't know how everyone's week was. I know last week I was in Ignite every day with all the students having a great time. So big shout out to everyone from Ignite. Yeah, and looking forward to having more people in our Ignite training coming up next week and the week after. I have a co-host with me today. Let's say hello to Jonathan Lee. Hello, John.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Hi, Mariah. So nice to be back here again. I was away. I was not on the show for the past couple of weeks, but
yeah,
I am glad. I'm glad to be back.
Yeah, I missed you, man. We missed you. Don't know what to say, lah. We need you to talk more.
I was trying to work on my jokes and my singing ability, but I don't think it's gonna work. So I will just do what I need to do today. Yes.
Okay. Later, I'm going to ask you for some jokes. Okay. I have a poll today. You know, I love my polls. This poll might seem a bit different, okay, a bit different, but it's related to what we're going to be talking about later on today. Okay. Oh, so funny. It says Zoom poll. Never mind. Okay. First question. So for those on Facebook, you can listen up as well. Over the past 6 months, did you get more calls from sellers wanting to sell or buyers wanting to buy? So those would be inquiries coming in. Do you get more inquiries from those sellers who want to sell property or buyers who want to buy property? So choice A is more from sellers, B more from buyers, or maybe you get equal number from sellers and buyers, or maybe this is not applicable to you because you don't do this kind of business. That's fine. Number 2, over the past 6 months, did you get more calls from landlord wanting to let or tenant wanting to rent? Yeah, so those are those inquiries coming in. So A, more from landlords, B, more from tenants, or maybe there's an equal number from landlords and tenants, or again, not applicable. Yeah, so I'd love to hear all your answers so we can get an idea of what's going on out there in the market. Yes, yeah. Okay, so we're getting some good participation. Let's keep it moving. Yeah, what do you think of these questions, John?
I think it's interesting to find out how people are experiencing on the ground. I think this is the best reality check to understand what's going on in the market, even though it may be different for some of us, depending on how we run our business, how we but the key thing is there's always still activities from buyers and sellers, right? One thing we cannot run away from the truth that sellers and buyers activity are still in the market. So if you sit down and don't do anything and you're looking for the best time to do this in the market, I think that you might want to revisit that thought.
Right. It's good. Okay, so for those of you who are, I think more people have just joined, please fill in the poll quickly. We're going to just leave this open for another 20 seconds about if you have more inquiries from sellers or buyers or versus buyers, or more inquiries from landlords versus tenants. So just give you another 10 seconds to fill this out and we will end the poll. All right, I'm excited to see the response.
Yep.
Great, you guys like this question. All right, so 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's end this. All right. Okay, I'm going to share the results. I think the results quite interesting. So for the first question, it seems like definitely more from sellers than buyers, right? 63% from sellers, 21% from buyers. Some have equal. But then it's the reverse for the second question. It seems like more from tenants, 58%, and then only 21% from landlords. But the equal number is about the same, also 11% for both questions.
Right.
Interesting. Does this surprise you, or I find this really interesting. It's a bit like
I think on the ground there's a feel that this is a buyer's market, not a seller's market, meaning there are going to be lesser buyers and more sellers in the market. I think it's showing up that way. But it's interesting, less sellers. That means what it's saying is sellers are more responsive. And if you understand how to communicate, connect, and create value by helping them price their property correctly, I think that would be what is needed to be done this season.
Right. Okay, cool. All right, I'm going to end this and we will move on to our next activity. All right, so today we're talking about Q1, the 2023 property market report, right? Do you want to introduce our speaker, John?
Yes, we have with us the President of MIEA Malaysia, Malaysian Institute Estate Agent, Madam President Cheng. Cheng, are you there on the call? There you go. There you go. I thought everyone should know you and everyone probably know you, but I wanted to ask a few questions before you start. You know, and I know that you just completed the recent MIEA AGM, which marks your potentially last official event or official activity, and you were quite in celebratory mode. So maybe you want to share with us in your quick one, just as we start this morning, the past 2 years as you serve as our association's president, what was it that you experienced, and what are some of the highlights?
Wow.
Okay, thank you, John, and thank you, Mariah, for inviting me into this Winning Monday. I want to say hello to everyone. And that was a very loaded question. In fact, nobody asked me that question in my entire 2 years of serving MIEA. But it's very interesting. I always felt that there's a lot of value in contribution. Sometimes we feel that, you know, the things that we do in life, we just should think of ourselves first and then less about others so that we can protect ourselves and things like that. Well, while that is true, I feel that in the last, actually, I haven't just contributed 2 years. It was actually 6 years. I came back to serve at MIEA in 2017, at the time as Secretary General, then 2 years later as President-elect, and then 2 years after that as President. So it's actually been 6 years since I served. And I must say that it's a very interesting journey. Because MIEA is a collection of, you can say, competitors. Yeah. Can you imagine? We are all competitors, you know, the whole association members are all competitors of one another in a way. So coming together for a common purpose, putting aside our competition out there in the marketplace to champion something that's good for the entire industry. Now that is something different altogether, you know. I mean, we can work with our friends, but how you like working with, you know, people who have maybe different interests, different goals, and different, they're different because they're very competitive out there in the marketplace. So what I find is that in the last 6 years, the getting together of this, of course, number one is to align everyone into the goal and the direction of where MIEA wants to go, unite people on commonalities, and also to allow freedom of expression and also individuality when it comes to working in a team. So of course, it's not all easy. There are challenges that we face throughout the 2 years. Sometimes there are things that we agree and then we disagree and then we agree again. And then a situation where we had to disagree to agree, or we agree to disagree, and all kinds of scenarios. And what has really taught me is that how to deal with situations where people do not agree with one another, how to resolve conflict, how to just unify everyone into common goals. So I think that to me is the greatest learning journey for the last 6 years serving at MIEA.
Wow, awesome. And on behalf of everyone in our organization here, and as part of all of us represent the real estate industry, thank you so much for your service. And you are continuing to serve, I know, as immediate past president. And I'm sure somehow, somewhere, one of you, the presidents, will have something up their sleeves to learn how to leverage from you and get you to be part of this whole journey as well. So thank you so much. So maybe today we are here talking about the property market based on the NAPIC report, and you have prepared something to kind of let us know what your thoughts are, and just to run through with us what's going on. Or maybe you can take over the floor and do your thing.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much for that. Okay, let me just quickly share some of the slides. Yeah, just give me a moment. Okay, can you all see it clearly? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Good. Okay. So recently, I think last week, the Director General of the JPPH, Jabatan Penilai Pentase and Inilai Harta, right? NAPIC which is the National Property Information Center for Malaysia under JPPH, they produce a property market report snapshot every quarter. Yeah, sometimes it's delayed. That means the first quarter, like January, February, March, right? They will release the report in May. So slightly delayed, but it's okay lah. I think what we need is general information to know where the market is heading lah, what kind of volume of transaction we're talking about, what kind of value of transaction we're talking about, and we roughly can gauge from there how the market is doing and whether the perception and reality matches. Because all the time, we always know that sometimes we think that the market is bad, but then after that, the results say, it's actually good. Or sometimes we feel that the market is good, but the results actually shows that the market is not performing as best as it could. So let's see whether our perception and reality matches in the results that we're going to see in the next couple of slides. Okay, so the first thing is, let's look at the value of volume of transaction. 89,179 transactions in the first quarter. That means January, February, March, all together, all industries together. That means doesn't matter residential, commercial or what, all together, 89,179 transactions. Okay. If you look at the chart on the right here, which is trend of transaction volume, you can see that 89,000 falls short of the last 4 quarters of 2022. Okay, so 2022 first quarter was 94, then 93, then 105, then 95, and now we're at 89. So is this an alarming decline? I wouldn't say so lah. I wouldn't say it's a declining. It's very alarming, but there is an adjustment of from the highs of Q3 and Q4 to dip a little bit in Q1 of 2023. But will we see this trend continuing? I personally don't think so, but we'll have to wait for the Q2 report, which will be out probably in August of this year. So, but when you look at the value of transaction, it is still very strong at 42.31 billion for the first quarter of this year. So this is also relatively following this transaction scale as well. So that means we are not doing better than Q4 of 2022, neither are we doing better than Q3 2022. We are basically, I would say, stabilizing and hovering around a reasonable number of transactions. Okay, so
can I pause you for 1 second?
Yes, sure.
Okay, I just wanted to alert everyone on the call, everyone who's on Facebook, on Zoom, please, as you're listening, if you have any questions, please prepare your questions, because after this presentation from Cheng, we're going to take questions. So prepare now, think what you want to ask, and then type it in the chat and we will come back to you, okay? All right, you can keep going now. Okay.
All right, thanks, Mariah. Yeah, please feel free to put any questions down. We'll handle it after every segment. Okay, so then when you look at construction activity, this is where we want to know whether are there more projects being launched in the last quarter? Is it more projects being completed, or why would this affect us in this marketplace? Is because we want to know what is there more or less, or what's happening, so we know whether we have more products to sell or not, right? In the new project segment. Okay, so let's look at the trend of construction activity. If you notice in the last year, Q1 all the way to Q4, that's a lot of completions, right? And I think this is because of the MCO delays and because of projects that were launched way before the whole pandemic thing, they are all completed last year. The majority. That's why a lot of the agents felt that year, last year, they did so many sub-sale and rental transactions in the year 2022 because all the projects were completing at that time. So I think 2 or 3 weeks ago on the call was one of a top performer who closed 120 rental deals or sales in a year, right? I think he probably benefited from a completed project that came along that timeline in 2022. So that was really good. But if you look at Q1 2023, the number actually dipped by more than half. That means less projects were completed in Q1 2023 with only 9,000. And not only that, when you talk about new starts and also new planned supply, the figure is also very low. Okay, so some people say that, is that a bad thing? If we have less projects being launched? Well, 2 ways of looking at it. Like the NAPIC Director General said, well, in a way, this will help to address the overhang situation that the country is facing. Also to ease in supply slowly so that demand can strengthen. So there are many ways to look at this data. But if you ask me, I'm not concerned about it. Yeah, it doesn't mean that that developers no longer want to launch project. No, it doesn't signify any of these signals at all. This is just what has happened in Q1, the number of projects that have started and the number of approvals given for developments to kickstart. Okay, so when it talks about residential, of course, residential landed and high rise takes the high spot with the numbers of completion, starts and new supply for 2023 Q3 lah. Okay, so then let's look at what kind of price range of the new residential new launches that has taken place. So if you look at the number of sold, right, versus the number of launched, we're looking at a 25.7% in a way take up of the 4,661 units that have been launched. Okay, so is this an alarming figure? Well, normally when a project is launched, the first 30% will sell out in the first 1 month or less, yeah? And then the balance of it will slowly, you know, the sales will slowly pick up slowly, majority of the project. Of course, there are certain projects that one day, I was told there was one project in Putra Heights, right? One block was sold within 4 hours, okay? So this summary that we have here is a cross-section of fast-selling, slow-moving, and normal projects. So this is an average. So don't take this as the industry standard and say that, oh, all projects are, I'm sorry, developer, we can only sell 25.7% because that is the industry standard. No, some projects have 4 hours sellout. I think there was like, I don't know how many units, I think 600 units within 4 hours, crazy. Yeah, so there are still happening projects such as that. Okay, so what kind of product range are they selling at? Okay, so if you look at it, the predominant number is actually under number 3, 500,000 to $1 million, 35.7% in this price range category. And if you look at 300,000 to 500,000, if you combine these two sections together, actually the majority of residential new launch projects today are being sold between 300,000 to $1 million. That's almost 70%, 68%, we say 66% of the market new launch are actually in this category. So some people ask the question, why is this price range the majority that developers are selling, or whether this price range has the most challenge in terms of developer wanting to sell? Okay, so the question is, of course, number one, the developers have adjusted most of their products to match this price range, knowing that the demand is in this section. And second thing is, there will be another data to show that this segment of the market is also the most number of overhang units. But I always believe that in that particular report, there's a difference between what is affordable and what is, what is affordable? The word what is affordable? Would a property, let's say 500,000 for a 300 square feet unit, is that considered an affordable property? But it falls under that range, the 300 to 1 million price range. Or would a $300,000 property for a 300 square feet be something affordable for the marketplace? Or will a 360,000 property, 600 square feet, considered in the affordable range? So sometimes when we read data, we have to be careful, especially the overhang data, which I won't cover today, but just to highlight to all of you, do not be overly alarmed when you hear that, wow, this price range is not selling. You have to check again, what kind of products actually fall under this category. Price alone is not the determinant of the affordable properties not being able to sell, because affordability and price affordable is two different subject matter. But anyway, just take note that the market is moving towards 300,000 to $1 million type of transaction range. Okay, so if you look on the left, this Malaysian house price index, if you see that the baseline in the year 1990, if I'm not mistaken, I cannot even see it myself, but we started that year. And if you noticed, although there were certain adjustments, especially in the year 2020, but overall, the Malaysian house price index have grown from 100, we put the index point at, let me see, at 190 index point, right? Until 210 in the year, in the Q1 of 2023, which shows that property over time has increased in value. Yeah, because if the property did not increase in value, our house price index will fall, which is what happened in the year 2020. If you look at the chart, Yeah. So now that we have come back to 210 from 190, I would say it's a very gradual improvement over the years, but nonetheless, property is resilient and it has improved in value over the years. So when you look at the what happened in the Q1 on the right-hand side, indexed by house price and average house prices, right? So landed has always been very resilient. Terrace houses, I think all of you know that, very, very resilient. So it's up again, prices are going up. High rise, surprisingly, this surprised me a lot actually. I expected high rise to fall or maintain in pricing, right? But actually transactions have shown that it has increased by 5.3%. So what does 5.3% mean? Okay, let's say the property is 500,000. So now the price have gone up by 5% now, which is another 2,005, is it? Something like that. Okay, on an average, some has grown more, some have grown less. But semi-Ds and bungalows, has experienced a slight dip, which I'm not alarmed by this. It basically indicates that the products of semi-D and bungalows are just basically stabilizing in terms of pricing. Yeah. So let's say maybe a bungalow house was 4.5 million asking last year. This year, it would probably be asking for 4.5 also this year, instead of an improvement in value based on this data. Okay, but of course, again, it is depending on where it's located and things like that. Okay, so what I wanted to share is a summary, right, of what has happened since year 2018 to 2022. I must say that we all we love year 2014. I don't know if you all have been long enough in the industry, you'll know that 2014 was the best year of our life. You know, we don't have to
1.3 and 1.4, I think. I think 1.3 and 1.4 is very
correct.
good, very good
No
time.
need
Yes.
no salesmanship required. Yeah, just say you have something for sale, and everything just sells out. Okay, so that was 2014. We have 384,000 transactions at 162 billion for the entire country. But look at 2022. We all think that we are in the doldrums. Some of us have the perception that the market is bad, the market is going to collapse, there's going to be, wow, recession and wow, kind of drama, right? But year 2022, let me say, we have overachieved the best years of 2014. And the value of transaction is at our country's highest in history of Malaysia, at 179 billion. So don't be fooled. The market is really good last year, 2022. And we expect that in the year 2023, it will similarly perform or just maintain at these levels. Okay, so that's what I wanted to share. And I want to say that some people say that last year was not a good year because OPR rate was raised 4 times, in the last year. So some of the press, the media, they like to call me and ask me, hey, so is this a cooling measure? I say no. The reason why the OPR rates went up is not for cooling the property sector, it's to control inflation. So I say, please do not be mistaken. And luckily, fortunately, our country is very gradual in our increment of our OPR rates. We only increased by 0.25 basis point. Do you know that the US increased by 0.75 each time they adjust, and they adjust I think 3 times back to back, and increasing the interest rate. So we do not experience such dramatics. We are more gradual. Bank Negara is very, very, very careful. And up to date, we have raised from 1.75 to 3% in the last 1 year, I would say. So in spite of this 1% increase in the year 2022, it did not affect the buying interest. Because at the end of the day, I always believe that the buyer buys because he needs it. He can afford it. Otherwise, he won't buy. Right? So if you go on that basis, then we will remove the speculators from the market and only deal with the genuine buyers. Okay, so anyway, just want to talk a little bit of OPR. So don't be alarmed. Our 3%, we're only basically coming back to 2016, 2017, 2019 era. So we are still in a way considered in the low interest rate regime.
I think we had a drop during COVID time that the government reduced the interest rate so low that we never experienced before. And we didn't really go above what we were pre-COVID. Right, I think the interest rate is not a concern here right now. It's not an issue here right now. I think the issue is bigger than interest rate. Yeah.
So do we have any questions?
Yeah, who's got
I
questions?
think, do you mind if you go back to the slide?
Oh, go to the
Just
slide. Okay, okay.
yeah, I think you
Yeah,
can go
yeah.
back. And I think there's a good observation
Sure,
here.
nah.
You go back a couple of slides back when you look at the total highest here, right here. And
Okay.
I find myself wondering, right? Many agents last year didn't do well, but there were many agents that did exceptionally well.
Mm.
Mm,
And I in my observation, if I look at this volume, right, of transaction, number one, I think it potentially could be a pent-up demand during COVID. And I think that the spoils went to the agent that followed through very well during the past 2 years. Because I think a lot of agents in 2022 were waiting for new buyers to come, but actually, there are a lot of agents, they're already talking to a lot of clients in 2021, 2020, and they were following through with them in order for them to get that sale. I think potentially that could be something that I observe it's happening. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I believe that there were some people that were more prepared than others lah. I think in life, the wins go to the ones that are prepared lah. While some people were like lamenting or in the doldrums in 2020, right? We were so pleasantly surprised that in the year 2021, when we did our MIEA awards, right? Wow, there were still people who did really well. And then we were thinking like, hey, I thought we were all in bad shape in that year, right? But even you look at it, even how bad shape also, there were 295,000 transactions lah.
Right, correct.
And I wanted everyone who has been around for some time, I wanted you all to check, okay, year 2021 compared to year 2022 lah. Did your income increase in the same percentage as the country's average? I think that would be a good gauge. That means, did you have 30% better sales 2021 compared to 2022, as much as the country has grown from 300,000 to 389, right? That's about a 30% growth, right?
Correct.
About 30% growth. So did you all experience a 30% growth in your income last year in sales? I'm not sure. So we also must go back and check whether as a company or as whether our growth was the same or not. Because this is the average.
Correct.
That means there were some who did way, way better. Yeah.
And I think it is very different from the market during 2013 and 14 that you mentioned just now, where it was a hot market. There were so many buyers in the market. Everybody was just wanted to buy something. Whereas this one is different. I think this one is a more complex market. It's a more sophisticated market where agents need to be highly intelligent and highly connected to the clients in order for them to reap the harvest. I think that's a huge difference between these two season and market. Yeah, but it's interesting observation. It's a very interesting observation.
Great. We have a couple of questions in the chat. Cheng, you want to see? Nisam is asking just to check the volume including is it including under construction property as well?
Oh, for the transaction one, it's transacted. Yes, both sub-sale and new projects.
Okay. And then another question from Dev. Can you explain the earlier slide on bungalow and semi-D demand?
Demand. Okay, so basically what this chart says is that they took an overall of the price transacted for semi-Ds in the entire country lah. So it's actually quite generic. So they say overall semi-Ds, if you ask me, 0.2% is basically remains the same lah. That means if last year the price of semi-D was 1 million, this year is the same lah, is 1 million lah, right? Because 0.2% is hardly any movement lah. And same thing with bungalows also. If the price was transacted at 4 million last year, it's still transaction at 4 million this year. That's basically what the average data is telling us lah.
Nice.
But it's like I said, it's not specific. Property is a very specific game. So do not use general data to tell your customer, okay, so your price must increase by 2.3% or 5%. No, it's very dependent on the locality and the type of product you're dealing with. So this is just generic answers. Generic, yes.
And I think each market, all of us have to be the local economies of choice. And I give to Cheng's point, if I go to a market, for example, this is Park City right now. Right, you won't see this market. This data does not apply there because the property value is way higher. The annual growth rate is way higher than this. Banks are not even willing to value some of the properties. and people are paying above market valuation from banks because they want a property there, and the demand is so high that it is way above the industry average. That's an example of that kind of market, right? And in some markets, you will see the correction is even higher. Like some high-rise market would not see a 5% growth, right? But what it's just showing is this is the general. And I think the key message here is the market is actually transacting and moving. That's very important for us to understand. I mean, we can all dive deep, how deep you want to go and how specific you want to go and all that. But the reality is that the market is moving and there is transaction. Question is, are you transacting? That's the question. Are you transacting, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask, since it's such a big picture, all these, because it's the whole country, I was wondering how, as an agent, how should I take this data? Like, what do I do with this data? How does it affect my life? Like, how does it inform me to make decisions or whatever? Just curious. Yeah.
I would just go back to this one. Don't need to analyze too much on data. To me, is you use it to just I don't know, just like an overall gauge only. Because at the end of the day, I always believe that general data is not useful one personally lah. Yeah, okay. But I only take general data for this only, transactor volume and value. I just want to know as a general overall, how are we doing as a country? So when I see this kind of figure, then I say, okay, we are fine. We are way surpassed the 2014 hike already. So very surprising, very, very surprising. That's why the press, they keep asking me, well, you know, is the market affected by the interest rate hike and all that last year? I keep telling them no, but they somehow wanted me to say yes. You know, I said, no, I don't believe it would affect. And true enough, luckily I held on to my words. True enough, when the data came out, it matches what I've been saying throughout. Because some people say, oh, why are you overly positive? I say, I'm not overly positive. I feel the pulse of the market. I know when the market is doing okay, and I cannot say otherwise if it's not. Yeah. So I've been very consistent in my message to the media all this while throughout the 2 years I was president, which is from 2002 to 2022 and 2023. I think I've been quite consistent in my messaging as far as the stand of MIEA is concerned when it comes to transactions and activity.
Right. And I think our interest rate has not gone to the peak where we were last time. I don't think so. And I don't think we will ever get back there anymore.
You mean of 1997?
Yeah, no. I mean, 97 is, I think that was an anomaly, but I think once that settled down, we were always hovering about BLR 6.75, 6.5 those days, right? Then you keep on coming down to the 4s, and now it's the 3s and 4s. I think we're going to hover around here, and I think it's plus minus. I think the more we may see 5, I don't know. Because I think because the way of economy, I don't think it is of any value for the central bank to keep on pushing the rates. The reason, as you said just now, is just because they're just trying to manage inflation and stay at par with the US dollar, right? But it's not being used to stimulate or motivate anything in the property market at all. I don't think the government has any, at this point in time, put into any serious measures to the property market. I know actually you very agree with me, but I don't see them like Singapore. They are really seriously trying to pull the market, right, with the ABSB of 60%. I don't see that happening, and I don't see that in our Malaysian market right now.
Yeah.
Right. So overall, it's still a good time to be an agent. There's a lot of opportunity out there, basically.
Yeah.
Yes. Definitely, it's a growing market. One thing good about being an agent, right? When you look at the prices, you just look at this. If your income, if you close the same amount of deals in 2014 and 2022, your income would have grown from 162 to 179. I mean, that's an average, because why? Property price would have increased over time. So one thing good, sometimes when we work in a full-time 9 to 5 job, elsewhere, right? You're only hoping and praying that the company will increase your salary every year to match inflation. So what better industry to be in when the property rise with inflation? So our income, those days, 200,000 was a terrace house. 250,000 was a Bandar Utama terrace house. So you used to make 3% from 250,000, right? Today is 1.3, 1.4 million. You're still making the 3% from the 1.3, 1.4 million. So your income has grown in tandem with the market. How good is that?
Yeah. I wanted to show something on my screen as well. I just played around something. I think the NAPIC has something on Tableau right now that they are having a lot of visualization in terms of this. If you all can see my screen, and you can look at this is just like a heat map or like a indication of the state of Selangor, right? And you can see where are the number of transactions happening here right now, like which daerah, right? Which location. And you look just, I mean, if you just be smart and you just follow this simple data in the state, right? You can see there's a lot of opportunity right now. Now, one may say the affordable is always high, but if I look at a million and above, there's still a lot of transaction. There's 1,169 transaction that has happened in 2023. This data is 2023 for the state of Selangor. Meaning, if they have about 100 people watching us right now, there is 1,169 transaction in the 1 million and above category, just that particular segment that just happened and transacted in the first Q of this year, or up to here this year, whatever the data is. But what's important for us to understand, guys, is that there is a lot of opportunities. You just need to know where they are. And I think focusing your effort and time on the right location. And if I go back to KL, you can see the same thing for KL as well. It changes for KL. You can see there is a lot of transaction, a lot of opportunity in KL. And you can see the same thing, that it's the 1 million and above transaction that is actually transacting a lot compared to the rest. If I add on all these things, right, there are easily 2,000 transactions here for all of us. I mean, maybe we may not want to do the 100, 200,000 transaction, right? But if there's easily 2,000 over transaction in the KL market, there's 1,500 transacted in the condominium market in Klang, in KL alone, Daerah KL alone. So to I Cheng's point, there is a lot of opportunity here, a lot of opportunity that there is no such thing as let's wait for the best market to work. I think you should be working in every market. Right.
Yeah.
I think you should be working in every market.
You know, the interesting point is that, you know, when you look at the data and then you see that, wow, everything is increasing so well, right? But then there'll be some people who still tell you that, wow, 2022 was a bad year for them. I was like, huh? Then some people say that it was a good year. Some people say it's a bad year. I was thinking about it. Actually, it doesn't matter the market. The market can be, the economy could be bull run or whatever. The agent can either still do well or still do badly.
Oh,
correct or not? There'll be every, you know, in every situation and every crisis, no matter how good the market, there'll be some people who do well, some that don't. So what's the difference?
the person.
Yeah, and to your point, I think if you go back to 2013 and 14, you don't need to do anything. The market is so high, so hot, right? Everybody just got a transaction, right? That's the reality. But that doesn't happen all the time. It's a cycle, right? And I don't foresee that happening in the short term also. I don't think in the next 3-5 years we're going to see the 2013, 2014 bull run. Because what's the story behind it? What's the economic growth, right? What's the opportunity that is driving that kind of market again? So I think the market is changing towards a market where agents need to be really smart in how they run their business. They need to be very diligent and smart. Work hard and work smart is now necessary. I think that's important. That's my observation.
Yeah. Okay, let me just share a little bit more about because just now you guys did a poll, right?
Yes.
And I thought that, okay, let's see whether the poll matches the MIEA poll that we did for at the RAN Summit as well as the Mariah. So whenever you want to track whether the market, how are we doing, right? So I always take it upon myself. I say, MIEA, you guys must do surveys because you are the pulse of the market. You need to understand what members feel about the market. Then only we know and can gauge better the performance. So we always like to track number of inquiries. Yeah, inquiries for purchase 2021 compared to 2022. So same thing. When you look at the figures, right, then you know that 41.7% say yes, there's more. Of course, there are some people who say there's decrease, probably because they were dealing in a different sector. They could be in the commercial market or office space or things like that. And therefore, they experience a bit of a decrease in terms of number of inquiries for purchase. Or some people say it's maintained. And then when we ask them how they foresee the future in the year 2023, actually the majority, almost 50% said they foresee that in the year 2023, they will have more inquiries for purchase, which in a way matches the results that you all mentioned earlier, but in a different proportion. Different proportion, slightly different proportion. So what are rentals? So rentals, when you compare 2021 with 2022, 55.7% experience increase, which is exactly what you all found as well, that there are more tenant inquiries. Yeah, so more tenant inquiries, definitely. And will it be maintained? So we look, yes, in fact, it's grown. The earlier we see there's 55.7%, right? Then the respondents actually felt 63.5% of the respondents actually felt that the year 2023 will have more rental inquiries, which matches exactly with the data that you guys had earlier on the poll. So, and only 11.3% mentioned a decrease. I don't know why. Maybe there's an anomaly or a perception of certain agents, but the majority actually feels that either it remains the same number of inquiries as last year, or 63% actually felt increase. Okay, so then the next question we like to ask is, did your owners adjust the selling price or not last year? So that's very interesting data for us, right? That means when they were selling in year 2021, when it comes to year 2022, did they adjust their selling price? Or the properties in the area that you're marketing, did they increase in price? So let's look at the results. So 32.2% actually says yes, the owners have beginning to adjust the selling prices of their property, whereas 29.6% actually say it remained the same. So if you take these two together, 60% actually maintain or increase their selling price, with only a 38.3% who that the price went down by 10%. So probably, if you look at it, it could be also segment related. The 38.3% could be maybe selected high-rise projects in maybe an overly dense location, whereas these others could be landed, or it could be strategically located properties. So again, it's not conclusive, but it's sufficient to say that the adjustment of selling price is already happening. In fact, when I talk to some agents, they say some owners, when we got the offer already, took the property out of the market, don't want to sell already because they feel that maybe the price too low, I don't want to sell now, I want to wait. Yeah, so interesting. While buyers are waiting for the price to drop to buy, sellers are taking the property out of the market because they want to wait for it to continue to go up. So very interesting market that we're dealing with. So when I asked 2023, do you foresee increase? Basically 35.7%, about the same amount, 60% felt that either remain or increase. So rental rates, similarly, they expect the rental rates will either remain the same or increase. In fact, a larger proportion mentioned that it will increase. So rents, I think, is set to rise from 2021 is already risen 2022, and moving forward to 2023, majority actually felt that it would be increasing or maintaining. Only 17% only felt that the rental rates will come down. And if you look at iProperty, right, once in a while I check, I will just randomly check price, asking rentals and all that. If I check last year and I check, early last year and this year, right, I felt that the asking rental rates have also increased. So it's correct. The data that the findings that we have from MIEA is reflective of what agents are advertising on the property portal. So no surprises here for us. Okay, is there anyone had any comments?
Yeah, I think the rental market is still very, very active. And I think relatively in general, our rental is still very cheap, especially in the residential market. Which to me, I think the new generation might think about renting first. They might think about holding on and rent first. And some of them are willing to pay premiums in rental because there's no commitment to something long-term. And they want to experience better lifestyle, right? So I believe there is some sort of a change in the way the market behave about rental. I mean, in those days, my days, not that I'm very old, but I remember in those days, we were thinking about functional use when you rent a house, right? It's short-term, it's temporary, 1, 2 years, 3 years, it's functional. I don't have to think through about, oh, I want a nice swimming pool, I want all these nice things. I think today the new gen thinks differently. I want to have lesser commitment upfront for a short-term commitment, but I also don't want to sacrifice my desire to have a better lifestyle. So I think there is a point where adjustment of rental is actually, I think it's a global thing as well. We are seeing this even in Singapore. I mean, the average rental, data have shown average rental in HDB has gone up easily 10 to 12%. Every quarter in Singapore is going up. But of course, Singapore market is a more dynamic market compared to ours. But the point is that people are willing to rent more than before, right? But the thing is this, somehow, somewhere, as they're renting more, those are your future buyers. Right? We just heard that from Tony a couple of weeks ago, that a lot of his tenants become buyers. Right. So I think there is a different way of running this business today. You need to really cover the coverage of the client's interest has to be really, really wider than what we used to do last time.
Mm.
Yeah.
And to be honest, rental is, sometimes when I feel that we in a way we don't consider the renters as well as we consider the buyers. But I always tell the marketplace, I say whether you rent or you buy, it's okay. They're both great options. I know of some owners who rent out their existing place and they go rent somewhere else and live. So they're
Correct.
both landlords as well as tenants at the same time, which is
Correct.
fine.
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
it's fine.
Correct.
During the MCO at the time, I had one agent who focused, one of my friends who focused really much in Mont Kiara. So I say, hey, how are you doing lah? Expat tak ada, everybody balik already. How is your business doing there? He said, you know what, no, Cheng? I say, yeah, what? Say, you'll be surprised. The locals are coming to rent in Mont Kiara. That time he told me was 2 years ago, right? 2020. So I say, huh? He said, you'll be surprised because at that year, the rent was adjusted, right? So the local tenants wanted to live in up class area and started moving to Mont Kiara. So he continued to do his business. I said, wow, you are good. There's a shift in the marketplace there, which I did not know was happening because I wasn't concentrating in Mont Kiara. But that was a good insight for me. So different location, different property, different type, all has its way one. Because imagine those days when you talk about expat market, KLCC and Mont Kiara would have suffered the most in year 2020, right? But this friend of mine managed to, found another market to fill up the gaps of the expat market that left. But of course, he suffered a little bit initially. Then after that, he regained that market again. Still focusing in Mont Kiara and KLCC until today.
Wow. So good. Thanks for sharing. There's a couple of comments. Francis comment that KLCC and Mont Kiara also definitely increased. I mean, based on what you were sharing. So you can see that trend. And then Charles saying not a single bedded room in Singapore CBD can go as high as 3,500 per month.
I think what you meant is now a single bedroom room.
Oh, now, okay.
Wow.
$500 per month. I've seen people renting HDB in the outskirts in Punggol and all that for over 2,000 Sing dollars, but it's a family home. It's like a 4-bedroom, 5-bedroom family home for $2,000 Sing dollars, which is very high, right? And then they start thinking, hey, it's for 2,000 Sing dollars, especially Malaysians who work in Singapore, right? I'm paying rental of 2,000 Sing dollars, which is equivalent to almost 6,000-7,000 ringgit. Might as well I go to Horizon Hills and buy a gated guarded golf course community link house for 800,000-900,000, which my installment would probably be only 3,000-4,000 ringgit. So I think that's the perspective. I think as agents, it's important to have perspective of the market, your own market that you're in. You've got to have perspective about your own market you're in. Right.
So good.
They can rent a Ritz-Carlton.
Francis' lifestyle and our lifestyle is very different. So okay, I leave that to imagination.
Okay, wait. Let me just finish up with this couple more slides but this one was a recent one in March lah. Okay, you all asked the question about listing more sellers or more purchases, right? So your findings was there were more sellers, 63% more sellers, right? And buyers was 21%. I wrote it down earlier, your findings. So if you look at the MIEA data, sellers was 52.2. So it's about there.
Okay.
And then more purchases is 13.9, whereas yours was 21. So it's about there. So the results are there. There's still more sellers than there are buyers, in the secondary market, as you will see, more listings than buyers are. And when you look at landlord and tenant, then same thing. There were more landlords. You also felt you were even more optimistic. You have 58% saying more tenants, where MIEA was saying that about 40.3%. And landlords was at 21%. Oh, sorry, landlords was at 21%. Ours landlord was 40%, and tenant was 30%, and yours was at 58%. So it's okay. This one here slightly differs from the findings of your KW poll earlier. Because you all mentioned there's 58%.
Oh yeah. So here on here it says there's more tenant than landlord. More landlord than tenants.
Yes. Yeah. But maybe this was done in March. Today is May. things may have changed, yeah, because our market is quite, it shifts time to time. So maybe it has adjusted from this lah. Okay, so but in terms of agency performance, we did ask also, did you all find that your revenue increased? We don't talk about profits, we talk about performance, which is revenue. Was that more revenue from 2021 compared to 2022? And actually 71.6%. That means almost three-quarter of the market of estate agents out there, when you speak to, would find that their agency has improved in terms of their performance. So if you ever met an agent that says that last year our company performance is worse, not profitability, revenue, then I think you better start mixing with the 71.6% whose revenue has increased. I was just checking, I think there was a posting, I think by KW, right? Compared 2021 with 2022, I think you guys transaction went up by 40-something%, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
Is it?
We went up.
Yeah.
Revenue went up. Revenue
Went up as well, right? Yeah, something like that. I cannot remember where I saw this data, but I came across it. So correct. So it must be in line with what the overall market feels now. Okay,
right.
And then of course the outlook, they all felt that is going to be positive. Similar like all of you, so 70.3% feels that everything will be looking good in terms of sales transaction, rental even better. They expect 80% will, even way better in rental transaction. But surprisingly, for primary market, the result is not as positive as the secondary market. You see, only 51.6% say that they feel that there'll be more transaction for this year. When you look at sub-sale, 70.3%. So I don't know what is this. I cannot make sense of this data, this finding.
Yeah, right.
Which is, so I also like, this is a bit unusual because normally the primary market would be more hot, in terms of demand compared to the secondary market. But well, I don't know. Maybe these are all sentiments of agents. It could differ. Yeah.
Right. Do you have any idea of how many people filled out that survey, the MIEA one, like approximately?
It came out of Mariah. Mariah, we had 500 participants. I think maybe, I wouldn't say everybody responded. I think maybe 70% of them responded.
Okay.
So good basket of
a few hundred like a few hundred people responding. Nice.
From all throughout Malaysia.
Wow, so good.
Very generic again, very generic data.
Yeah.
But I think those data are really a good indication of how the market feels. Because again, as I think mentioned, we have very big data. But that data, sometimes the big data may not be a reflection of the ground data, right? And I think the agents on the ground have definitely better feeling. And I like the part that I think you are talking about the primary market just now. I feel that it's real. If you look at the data of number of transactions, number of new launches, number of units planned in the pipeline, you'll see is lesser, way lesser than what it used to be. Meaning, I feel that because property is an inelastic market, you cannot adjust everything overnight, right? So I think this season, developers are in that mode of recalibration. Like you just say, it's not so much about 500,000 to $1 million. It's not about price anymore. It's about what's the 500,000 that I can sell, a product I can sell that I know the market can afford 500,000, but what's the product they are willing to pay? Right? Are they going to pay a 4-bedroom house or are they going to pay a studio? You are paying 500,000. If you launch a 500,000 studio, it may not work as well as a 4-bedroom house that's for 500,000, right? I mean, very clearly, landed definitely wins, definitely trumps everything. If I have a 500,000 landed, I think honestly, me and IG will be queuing overnight to buy. I believe so. I believe we will be part of the market. Right? We will go back, borrow and steal, and we go and buy something. I mean, if there is something in PJ, land the house at 500,000, I think you and we're going to line up overnight and we're going to buy. Because that's
definitely.
Definitely, it's a sure win, right?
Like Coldplay tickets.
So the
4 hours.
Yes. So the calibration part is where the prime market is feeling right now. And my other speculation is we used to get paid very high in the private market. I don't think that's going to happen anymore. I think there will be a lot of adjustment in the professional fees that the developers pay to agents already, because as the developers are adjusting and thinking about adjusting their prices, they'll start thinking, hey, I'm paying agents 7, 8%, 9%, 10%. My margins are 15%. They're like my shareholders already. Like, it doesn't make sense anymore. So I think calibration and adjustment is the season that we are in. Now, how does that look like? I don't know, but I can only speculate. These are the few things that I think will change. Because if I really have a product that can sell, like what you just said, like sold in 4 hours, right? Why would the developer need agents?
Yeah,
Right.
for those situations, the hard
Correct.
ones.
Correct. The how was is,
We always
right?
say, don't just give us the bones, give us the meat.
Correct. But as a developer, they are running a business, right? They'll be thinking, what's my cost management like? And what's the return that I put in? If I pay the agent 3%, can the agent give me back 10% volume of in terms of profit? I think in the past few years, it has not given the developers profit the way the ROI on the agent's fees. I think so. I think it's a huge gap. So I think there's an adjustment going on. There's a huge adjustment. That's why I think agents are feeling it. Yeah. And there's not many products in the market, because it used to be a lot of products last time, but I think there are lesser products right now in the market.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
But not to be concerned, because that is what people feel, but there will be transactions.
Yes, definitely.
There will surely be transactions anyway, happening in the marketplace. So remember, not to be overwhelmed by any data. Go specific to your area, be specific in your findings and your analysis of your market, and then that will be the way how you will win your farm or your marketplace. The market is not a generic market anymore. You cannot go the whole world, the whole of Malaysia, the whole of Klang Valley trying to do your business. It doesn't work. I think I was privileged to listen in on Peter Sack, is it? There was a Peter Sack and also Tony's session, right? They all talk about focusing. In fact, right. I think Tony mentioned one building only, right? Or something like that.
Yeah.
And Peter mentioned only one area anymore. Kiara, only that's it. He doesn't go anywhere else, So that kind of focus is important. But remember, choose carefully which farm you want to focus. Make sure there's sufficient transactions there and it's a moving market and things like that. Many years ago, I remember when one of my friends said, I want to focus in Cyberjaya. Wow, that time, Cyberjaya just started only. I was thinking, ayo, that is like a no man's land, man. I said, okay, all the best to you. So she went off there. And I tell you, she was those pioneers in a way in Cyberjaya and Putrajaya. And she conquered a lot of sales there in the marketplace. Right. By the time we came in, which is years later, we were actually the late comers already, but still we managed to cream the pie. I think Jonathan also in those days. So
yeah.
Cyber. But imagine she was earlier than us,
Yeah. Those are the old 1.3 and 1.4 time where like we could sell Cyberjaya in China, man. We could bring the Cyberjaya to China and someone from China will buy. I mean, it was that easy. The market was different. Yeah. But I think she's still probably doing well in the market because she or he probably has focus. And I like to say that she knows the market so well, or he or she knows the market so well that people also know her well. I think you got to be the local economies of choice. Gary Keller always say, you want to be successful in your business, be the local economies of choice. Don't try to be the Malaysian global economy. Too many people there already. Too many people there. There's not enough people as a local economist in Cyberjaya. There are not people in PJ. There are too many global people talking global stuff, which doesn't really matter to our property market. If you ask me.
Talking about this, I remember some years ago, I was helping one of my friends sell a property in, I don't know what, I think called tree capping or something like that. Yeah, I think tree capping. So I think there was one agent that focuses in the building unit, like he's like there every day, like camping at the site, or I'm not too sure. So when I say that, hey, I am bringing a potential buyer to buy my listing upstairs, then he said, who is the buyer? I said, why should I tell you? I said, because we're all agents. Then he said, then he gave me some brief description about the person. I said, yo, how you know? He knows that, and he know when I go, when I left, who came, who left the building, everything he knows, man. But fortunately, the listing was exclusive, so there's nothing he can do. But, the fact that he knows the people, and then everybody that come down, he say hello, he greets them by name, he knows which unit is moving out, which unit is moving in, he knows all the owners. I tell you, I asked him, I say, how many transactions you do every month here? He say, every week, every other week, every week I have a rental or sale transaction here. And I only farm here only. And this was how many years ago when I met him, Amazing. Even there's another agent I met in Bandar Utama also when I was scouting for some properties. This agent, another one, I told her, I said, okay, she said, okay, I said 2 o'clock, I'll meet you at the property. I said, okay, fine. He said, because I'm morning, I cannot make it because I'm going to see another property. Then she said, where's the property? I said, oh, it's BU6. Which road? I said, why is this so scary? Then the agent said, is it 6/1 house number, whatever? I said, yo, how you know? They said, is it through this agent? I said, yeah, I'm viewing it through that agent. Ayo, why you didn't tell me? I also can work with, I also can help to, show the property to you. Yo, but that shocked me, because she knows to the level of who has what listing in Bandar Utama, man. So finally, of course, she did the transaction, but I was so amazed by the level of intensity they know their marketplace. Every signboard up, I think they know which unit, which person, which agent have exclusive, which one don't have, and all that. Amazing. Right. Oh, so anyway, that was to me scary, but
market expert to the maximum.
And if I tell you honestly, if you ask me who I will call if I wanted to have anything there, I'll call her.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. And it's all called market intelligence. It seems simple, right? But that's really intelligence, because market intelligence is the one that separates the good agents and the not so good agents. But how you use the intelligence is so important, how you use it and how you behave, how you ethically do it. But I think market intelligence is the core thing right now. We need to have market intelligence to run our business. We cannot just go out there and put a signboard and expect someone to call us. I think those days are over already. You and I experienced those days now where we just hang a signboard and someone will call us, we just show a house and we just close the deal. It was that simple last time, but it's not like that anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think the trend of property marketing for real estate agents have changed over the years. And I think I'm fortunate to have seen it since 1999 until today, right? I really see the market evolve. But there are certain things that are really timeless. And that is relationship with your buyers and sellers. Right. That is timeless. And whether it's today, next year, 20 years from now, whether that is important to manage your relationship, it will still be the most important thing, which I think is in line with what Winning Monday is all about, database and everything, right? Yeah, this is the future. Will continue to be. It'll never be something that will be phased out. I don't think there'll be one day where we don't need to manage our database and our buyers just call us by themselves. Willingly.
Yeah.
Nope, they don't call us because someone else called them already.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
That day I was talking to one of my friends, a top agent in Subang, right? Everybody knows her. She's always taking photos and everything. So she told me, she said that, Cheng, I keep in touch so well with my customers, right? I said, yeah, I believe you, I believe you. Still, they can forget me. Huh?
Oh.
She said, you cannot believe it. That day I lost one bungalow deal because that buyer forgot to call me, called another agent instead.
Oh.
I said, but you kept in touch with them so well. Yeah, I said, can you imagine? She said, like practically every month I got to message him or what. So it's like, how often is this communication? I think the person can forget, She's not a person you easily forget, this friend of mine, really good friend of mine. But yeah, she also shared with me. I also got a shock. Yeah.
That's a good story. I'm going to use this next week in Ignite.
The issue is you will never be able to keep everyone. That's number one. Number two, you will never be able to maintain every single relationship, no matter how hard you work. That's just the fact. That's why it's a constant hard working process, right? There's never enough leads. There's never enough people in the database. When you need to keep on adding people, you need to keep on having connection, because you will never win everything.
Right. Good reminders. Okay, I want to do something fun right now. I'm just excited seeing these two groups. I see we have, of course, we have our Puchong group. They're all sitting there nicely. Can we spotlight Puchong? And also in flagship, we have KW Vanguard. Can we spotlight the two? Yay. Okay, I love this. I feel like there's a competition coming on. Everyone from Puchong, wave. Say hello, everyone. Hi. Hello, Puchong. Yay. I love seeing all of you there. I'm so glad you guys are with us and you're learning and you're focused. I love it. And now KW Vanguard, say hi. Awesome. I love you guys. I love this. Flagship is also coming in on the scene. So I think we can have a competition every week to see who got more people coming in to view Winning Mondays and be a part of the community. I love this. So glad to see you guys. All right. So with that, why don't we come, and we have some announcements we're going to share, and then we will come back and speak to Cheng one more time before we go. So let's see some announcements. Okay, so we have Ignite class. I'm very excited about Ignite, right? So there's every topic under the sun is involved in Ignite. And so those who've been coming, I think they're getting so much value. You can talk to anyone who's been coming to Ignite and they will give you their view on it. Yeah, so this coming next week, the past week we were doing lead generation. So we learned about how all the best practices that come from KW, some new ideas that probably you never thought of, including how to use open houses and social media to capture more leads. It's been great. We're going to be finishing that on this coming Tuesday, that module. Okay, next slide. So next, following after that, on starting Wednesday onwards, we have lead follow-up, which is like basically what we're just talking about just now, that you need to always be following up with your database. Otherwise, you're going to lose them. They're going to call other people because they will forget about you. So please come and sign up. There's a link for this. You can sign up even for module 3, or just come even for one session. You will get some value. So I want to encourage everyone. We have a lot of value available for you. You just come in and get your training. All right, next slide. Yes, of course, we still have our touch points. These things are really great. Even at Ignite last week, we had all the students, everyone, all the participants go to create something for the social media. So they went and they all found different things inside Circle on all the touch points. They each pick a different picture and they put some, their little words with it, and then they sent it out, and it was really, really useful. So I want to encourage you all to use what we have available on Circle. All right, next one. Okay, so we have lots of things happening at Flagship Market Center this week. So literally today, again, there's a group in Damen Mall for the Subang Shah Alam client agents. So please go there if you want to be part of that community. And of course, there's also the Shah Alam event. The date was changed, so it's actually happening tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. So the support for everybody in Subang Shah Alam client. Next one. And then this Thursday, there's Power Hour and Tech. So every Thursday, you guys, or anyone in Flagship, you can come for the Power Hour with George, followed by Tech Thursdays. So this week is KW Smart Plans with Winnie. So please look forward to doing that. And then also, I think it's tomorrow, we have our RSP program for anyone who wants to do coaching with Roland. So there's a group coaching session tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. So looking forward to see what will come from there. Great. Okay. I think that's the last slide, right? Anything else? Okay, great. Okay, so we come back. So Cheng, what do you have to share with all the agents listening? Yeah, any words of encouragement or advice you have for everybody?
I think it's the same advice, lah. Keep focused on what you're doing. Don't get distracted by by what's happening around you, because at the end of the day, your business is it's different from others. Don't compare yourself. Your business is different, and continue to work at your farm. Don't give up so easily on a market you have built, just to venture into another place just because you heard that place is better. So I think the grass is not always greener on the other side. Work on your own acres of diamond, your own farm. It is good enough. Yeah. So good. So good. Thank you so much for taking the time to just arrange all these information and make it all understandable to us. I learned a lot listening. I think people on the call also said it was a great session. So really appreciate that so much. Yeah. Anyone in the chat, please put some encouragement and some gratitude and any words of that you've learned today, whatever, just put it in the chat and let's encourage each other and learn from each other. Yeah. John, you have anything to share before we sign?
Very simple. Just listen to the president. Like,
only
don't
for
be
another
smart.
month. The president is only for another month.
Yeah, the smart thing to do is listen to the president. That's it. That's all I have to say.
It's so good, so good. Yeah, I told Cheng, I said, you have to come in for your last gig as the president, right? It's your last chance. Yeah, awesome,
Yeah.
awesome. Well, I really appreciate everyone tuning in especially in person. I love this. I love all these live people in the room. It's so exciting. I feel like we're actually talking to somebody.
Correct. Like watching a talk show online live, right? It's so nice. Okay.
Feel very cool now, lah.
Right.
But anyway, thanks to everyone on Zoom and on Facebook as well. Thank you for all the comments, everyone. And we will see you next week with another session of Winning Mondays. All right. Bye,
Guys, thank you.
everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.